Episode 6 delivered battles, heartbreaks, and triumphs, but only one player rose above them all. A new champion has been crowned, and the path now points to the ultimate test at the Night of Champions.
The era that ended a king's journey. Back in episode 6, one of the best stories of the season was formed. The story of an acolyte who learned from his master, only to deny the master the one ticket to the next round. The story of an unknown which announced himself by annihilating the biggest name of them all. Came to the nest by road, all the way from the ancient town of Benin. Left the nest riding in the clouds of a befitting champion. Soft-spoken, but turns to an assassin with a pad in his hand. The king from Benin, King Nonex. A long way to come here, but he was here now. Amongst the 8 champions of over 600 attempts, he was drawn into Group B, a group that also had Hanif, Fola, and Beast, the champions of Episode 1, Episode 3, and Episode 5. Beside him, he had his guy Boyd, and he was ready to break down all opposition. And tonight his first challenge was against Adefola, a clash of 2 titans. Bayern versus VfL Bochum, Nonex with Boyd by his side, versus Fola with Imaji for his side. And under 7 minutes, Nonex broke down Fola's defense. Controlled play of about 15 passes, and the king from Benin announced his presence. Very composed, unforced play from Nonex, as he continued to dominate play going into the 15th minute mark. And this led to another chance that was quickly nipped in the bud by Fola's goalkeeper. What a start! And the same composed play led to the third chance in the 20 minute. What a miss! Nonex is on top, but he has to take that chance. He now have to hope he doesn't rue that miss. He wasn't ruthless there. The king from Benin, whose ever-repeated mantra is, "Don't make mistakes," reflecting in his game composure. And Nonex created another chance again in the 41st minute to reflect his absolute dominance in this first half. Fola has had 0 shots so far. What a great start to the tournament. And the first half ends with Nonex leading 1-0. The second half started, and now Fola seemed to have shifted gears. Nonex still held on with his composed play and pierced through Fola's defense again in the 54th minute. Another squandered chance. This cannot be happening. At this level, these things come back to bite, and bite they did. Fola started to get into the game and press higher. 71st minute, and like a dagger to the heart, 1-1. All the advantage gone. The memories of the many chances lost must have flashed through the mind of King Nonex. 20 minutes to go, but the momentum had switched. Fola had now gone onto the game, and against the run of play, Nonex had another chance in the 85th minute, and another miss, and very quickly retribution. What a heartbreaking way to start the tournament. Nonex now losing 2-1 in the 88th minute. What a bruise to the psyche. He had that game. He had the longest spell and the most chances. But at this level, dominance is a very deceitful slope. The slightest errors are suicidal, and that includes the error of not being ruthless. Now Nonex has to look to his next game to put his first point on board. And the game is against Hanif, the champion of Episode 1. With both having lost their first matches, Nonex was up against a dangerous opponent in Hanif. Bayern versus France, and Nonex attacking from left to right at the first big chance of the game in the 12th minute. And only God knows how he missed the chance without even hitting the target. This cannot be a continued theme if he wants to go far in this tournament. Nonex kept Hanif away from his final third for the better part of the first half, but couldn't still turn the dominance into chances or goals. and that's how the first half ended goalless. The dominance continued in the second half and led to a chance in the 58th minute, but Nonex seems to have left his finishing touch today. But eventually, the dots connected in the 79th minute in what can be argued to be an idea given to King Nonex by Hanif. Hanif just tried his favorite first time up through, and it was offside. King Nonex hit him with the same move, and the wall came crumbling down. This time Nonex finished the ball expertly in the 78th minute. Finally, 1-0. And the game eventually ended that way, with 3 points in the bag. Defensive solidity saved the king from Benin from his wastefulness in attack. Nonex now has to at least draw in his third match to make it to the semi-finals. He was now playing Beast, who was third, and also on 3 points. Only one of them could go through, and with the stake that high, the stage was set. Nonex versus Beast, Bayern Munich versus Germany. Nonex, the king from Benin, has to win this to qualify for the next round. With Justin by his side, the die was cast, with his eyes on 3 points. The first chance of the game fell to Nonex, but he couldn't capitalize on it, as his tame shot was gratefully saved by the German goalkeeper. The back and forth continued in the midfield until Nonex conceded his first chance of the game to Beast. But some great anticipation resulted in him bringing the goalkeeper out to quell the attack. But it seemed that Beast's attack woke Nonex up, and he also launched his, but was well saved by the goalkeeper for a corner. 22 minute. But from the corner, Nonex continued to apply pressure, and it led to another corner. 25 minute. Nonex was applying the pressure, but in the twinkle of an eye, he was one leg out of the tournament. Beast had found a way to counter, and aided by an error from Nonex, was now leading 1-0. At the 37th minute, and despite a well-coordinated 45th minute attack, Nonex was behind going into half-time. Up till the 60th minute, all Nonex's attempt broke down in the midfield. But in the 61st minute, the breakthrough came. Aggressive pressing won the ball in the opponent's half, and Nonex capitalized to draw the game level, 1-1. If the match ends this way, it'll be down to goal difference between both players, and Nonex was ahead on goal difference. And in the 71st minute, Nonex made his place in the semis safe without a doubt. Breaking down an attack from Beast, he triggered a quick counter that entirely exposed Beast's defense. A well-finished goal that made it 2-1. If the match stays like this, Nonex ends up with 6 points behind Fola and will qualify to the next round. In fact, to lose, he'll need to concede 2 goals. Knowing this, he went into full defense mode. And despite conceding changes in the 83rd and 85th minute, King Nonex had secured his slot. Everyone make way! The King of Benin is making his entrance into the semis. Being second in Group B, he was to meet the leader of Group A, who happened to be none other than Mitch. Germany versus Bayern Munich. And as soon as the match started, Nonex was definitely on the front foot 3 minutes. The match itself was caged, but Nonex seemed to have the upper hand, and the first blow was delivered 20 minutes. Mitch had to wake up now. Nonex wasn't here to play, and he launched his own attack as well, but Nonex remained resolute with his keep-outs. But the pressure was clearly on Mitch, as he wanted to get back into the game quickly, thus leading to some mistakes. 34 minute. But Nonex wasn't able to capitalize, and his failure to capitalize quickly evolved into a failure to clear the ball. And in the 37th minute, he lost the plot whilst trying to clear the ball with his goalkeeper, and Mitch punished him ruthlessly. 1-1. Mitch was finally back in the game. All Nonex's work undone, all Mitch's anxiety calmed. And so the half-time ended. The second half was everything now. The second half began. Both threatening, none penetrating. Both defenses were in the highest form of elite. 60 minutes and no shot at all in the second half talk less of short on target. But Nonex finally in the 65th minute got the clearest chance of the day, but met waiting the well-oiled defensive wall of Mitch. Corner conceded, and the corner, though well worked, only resulted in a tame shot. Nonex seemed to have the upper hand, but nothing was still coming through till 85-minute mark. Controlled possession led to a well-worked shot, but was saved by Mitch's pristine goalkeeper movement. 1-1 at full time, and we were going to have our first, and what turned out to be the only penalty shootout of the tournament. Anybody can win it now.
Well, just inside when you're playing, just try as much as possible not to make mistakes. The more mistakes you make, the more chances you have of losing the game. So I tried as much as possible not to make any mistakes.
When he won episode 6, he said it, don't make mistakes, and he violated his very own principle. The pressure of the moment got to him, and the king from Benin has fallen on his own sword. The penalties were not going to be favorable to him, for more was expected from him. He had the game in his grip before scoring and after scoring, but that mistake will be the one moment he'll like to erase from his memory. And so his splendid journey at the Night of Champions came to an end. Episode 6 champion, King Nonex, who brought his throne from Benin to spread the tentacles of his kingdom in Lagos.